Talking Point. My name is Oliver Grimes. Welcome back. Episode 4. Today we are talking about the vice presidential debate between Kamala Harris and Vice President Mike Pence. This was incredible. This happened for me yesterday when this episode goes live 2 days ago. It was one for the books. There were a lot of things that happened. We're going to get into it. I'm going to have video clips. I'm going to have everything. It's going to be a really good episode. And I think that you guys might like this one because, again, like last episode, there's going to be not as many facts and more of my opinion on what both campaigns have to do to win this election. Before I do this, I want to make one quick announcement. We are on all social media platforms, on Instagram at the Talking Point Podcast, Facebook, the Talking Point Podcast, and then Twitter at Talking Point POD. We are also on Patreon, which is a crowdfunding site where you can support me for my work. It does cost money to run this show. So if you would like to donate, you can do any amount. You can do $1, you can do $5, you can do whatever. It's not required, but if you would like to donate, it would be greatly appreciated. We are now on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So this was an event that was very, very, very fun to watch. It was interesting to watch because I went in, and I can't lie, I went in a little bit nervous. After the Trump-Biden debate, I was a little bit nervous for this one. You know, Kamala, she's known as one of those people, kind of like Barack Obama in the sense where she relates to the people more. She can talk, she can articulate herself, and Mike Pence has been really quiet. You know, he hasn't said too much in the past, 4 or 5 years. I can't lie, I was a little bit nervous. But turns out that my nerves were for nothing because Pence absolutely dominated. I think that Mike Pence's performance was absolutely fantastic, and I think this was a performance that is rare for the vice president. Like I just said, 5 years now that he's been in kind of that spotlight as the vice president and presidential nominee, back in 2016. He has been in the spotlight and he hasn't really said too much. You know, he's been kind of this quiet, conservative Christian guy. He's been this guy who has kind of just stood by and he's said different things at different events, but, he doesn't make headlines. He doesn't come out. He's not as vocal as Donald Trump. And to give you my honest opinion, I think he's a perfect match for Donald Trump. I think they fit together extremely well because Donald Trump is this over-the-top, loud, exaggerated character, while Michael Pence, not Michael Pence. I've been watching all these videos, and I remember they called him Michael Pence at one point. Mike Pence, he's kind of more of the calm, cool, and collected guy. And I think that his performance last night was absolutely fantastic. Without a doubt, and this is me being objective, I said that Biden won the last debate. This is me being objective. Without a doubt, Mike Pence won this debate. Okay? I think that Harris, coming into this debate, expected to be debating a Donald Trump. Because you can see this. She asked questions that were trying to get him mad. She interrupted him. She was trying to tick him off. I think if this was, a Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump debate, I think it would have worked. I think she would have made him look irrational and crazy and arrogant and annoying. But she was not debating Donald Trump. She was debating Mike Pence, the guy who I just called extremely calm, conservative. And that's what he is. He was calm, he was cool, and he was collected. He articulated points that the Trump campaign has now stood behind for a long time. And he also articulated the points that I think a lot of moderates can't always see. What do I mean by that? I mean that under the spotlight of Donald Trump, I think Donald Trump is such an exaggerated character. He's always making headlines. He's always in the press. It is hard for people who are not interested in politics to understand what he actually stands for. Okay, I think that Donald Trump going out, that's not a perfect example. Let me give you a perfect example. You know, you're a normal person, you work a 9 to 5, you come home, you want to eat dinner, you want to relax, you want to watch sports, you're not really interested in politics, you're probably going to vote, but you don't know for who really. It is difficult for that kind of person to kind of understand any type of policies that Donald Trump represents, because he is a loud character. If you sit down and watch the debate, it's hard to figure out what he actually stands for under all of the yelling and the screaming and the name calling. It's difficult for moderates to like him and to see past his image and look at his policy. And that's why I think Mike Pence did a fantastic job. He's not too much of a character. He laid out the policy. I think he was steadfast in his values, and he stayed on topic the entire time. And I think he absolutely picked apart and dismantled Kamala Harris. I think he really did. He did a really good job. He held his values, and he really held the values of the campaign close together. As far as Kamala Harris goes, I do not think she performed well. To me, and I might be a little bit biased, she came off extremely rude and arrogant. Okay, there are multiple occasions when she made rude comments, trying to get her time back, which some people will say maybe that's not rude and that's me being sexist or a biased hater. I don't know. But I thought it was rude when she would, I'll play the clips. Here are the clips that I think were rude. Not only rude, but she came off as arrogant. Absolutely arrogant. If you are on YouTube, I'm about to play some clips. Here are some of the clips that I thought were arrogant. And it's not the content of what she's saying. It's her smirk. I've seen this multiple times. People don't like her because they don't like her smirk. She's always laughing, she's smiling, she's got the big teeth showing, and that's not an insult, because I don't like name calling. She's got her teeth showing, she's smiling, she's laughing, ha ha ha, Pence. It doesn't matter what he says, I'm right. It's arrogant. It's the same thing that Hillary Clinton did that made me dislike her, and made so many other people dislike her. She's not a likable person. Okay, I don't know. The smirks were cocky, they were not a good look, and I did not like them. So here's those clips. If you're on YouTube, you can see them. If you're on Spotify or any of the audio-only ones, you're probably just going to hear some clips of Mike Pence talking. But let's roll this.
His own chief of staff, Ron Klain, would say last year that it was pure luck that they did, quote, everything possible wrong. And we learned from that.
Well, I mean, I thought we saw enough of it in last week's debate, but I think this is supposed to be a debate based on fact and truth. And the truth and the fact is, Joe Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000 a year.
He said he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well,
I'm speaking.
It'd be important if you said the truth. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. Now, as you do, but the both of you repeatedly committed to abolishing fossil fuel and banning fracking. And so by creating the kind of American innovation, we're actually steering toward a stronger and better environment.
All right, so we're done with that. You can make up whatever opinion you want. I'm not going to force my opinion on you. Take of it what you will. I thought it was rude and arrogant. We're going to take some of the key moments from the actual thing. I'm going to play clips with it and give my opinion. The first big key thing was COVID-19. Obviously, it is a huge topic. The president just got it last week. Of course, this was going to be one of the bigger topics. And honestly, I think Mike Pence did something absolutely fantastic. He called Kamala Harris out on it completely. Kamala came out with this new, idea, and if you're on audio, I'm doing the finger things that indicate sarcasm. She gave all these new plans for what she was going to do, and Mike Pence came out and he said, "What are you even talking about?" He said, "We're doing the exact same thing. Oh, you're not special. We've been doing the same thing. We locked down our borders. We've helped healthcare facilities. We've helped people on the front line of this pandemic. We are doing exactly what you're laying out." Okay? Roll the clip. He had a fantastic comeback. Roll that.
Like what President Trump and I and our task force have been doing every step of the way. I mean, quite frankly, when I look at their plan that talks about advancing testing, creating new PPE, developing a vaccine. It looks a little bit like plagiarism, which is something Joe Biden knows a little bit about.
One of the other things related to COVID that I really did not like is Harris's comments about not wanting to take the vaccine if Donald Trump said it was okay to take, which makes me ask, why are you fear-mongering? This is a blatant fear-mongering strategy. She's making the president look irrational. I mean, who does she think the president is? Does she think that the president is in a science lab working side to side with Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx, formulating the actual chemicals? Does she think that he's in Moderna's labs or Pfizer's labs creating a vaccine? This is blatant fear-mongering. One of the other big things that I thought was absolutely incredible that Mike Pence dished out and kind of dismantled Kamala Harris's argument on was the Green New Deal. I think this is a very big one that has not been spoken a lot about. Of course, it's been brought up, but I don't think it's been the top of the list for a lot of the conversation going back and forth. If you do not know, the Green New Deal is it's an idea, it's a piece of legislation that was trying to be passed by AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I think it was about last year, maybe 2 years ago. And Harris was the first co-sponsor of this. According to multiple different sources, and I'll cite them, the Green New Deal would cost the American economy roughly $51 to $93 trillion. And I say trillion with a T, not brilliant or marillion. No, it's trillion. 51. On the low side, 51 trillion. If you don't have any perspective on that, I think the U.S. national debt, I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. I'll put it up on the actual screen. I think is around 24 trillion for the entire country. So we're talking about more money on a plan to rebuild our entire nation. Okay, we're talking about that type of plan that costs more than double our national debt. It was absolutely ridiculous. Harris was one of the first co-sponsors of that bill, and Pence brought it up, and she deflected. Here we go.
Let's talk about who is prepared to lead our country over the course of the next 4 years on what is an existential threat to us as human beings. Joe is about saying we're going to invest that in renewable energy. It's going to be about the creation of millions of jobs. We will achieve net zero emissions by 2050, carbon neutral by 2035. Joe has a plan.
So staying on the topic of environmentalism and that, I mean, the lies go back and forth. Not even back and forth, back to back. She lies. She's a liar. Kamala Harris is one of the biggest, if not the biggest liar in politics that I've ever seen. I mean, Hillary Clinton's a big one. She is a liar. When asked about fracking, she says Joe Biden never said to abolish fracking because Mike Pence made the claim that they were going to abolish fracking or ban fracking. Okay? Kamala Harris said neither I nor Joe Biden want to abolish or ban fracking. Okay? And I have two clips that will completely destroy this argument. Here we go. I can't even pronounce my frustration because of how ridiculous it is that they push these lies and the American people, the people who are uninformed, but those who are going to vote, still believe this stuff. Play the clip. Let's go.
What exactly would be the stance of a Biden-Harris administration toward the Green New Deal? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Sure. So first of all, I will repeat, and the American people know, that Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That is a fact.
But kiddo, I want you to just take a look, okay? You don't have to agree. But I want you to look in my eyes. I guarantee you, we're going to end fossil fuel, and I am not going to cooperate. Okay?
Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office, adding the United States to the list of countries who have banned this devastating practice?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yes, and starting with what we can do on day one around public lands, right?
There you have it. You see, Kamala Harris said she's down for it. She's okay with banning fracking. And Joe Biden said the exact same thing in one of his meetings earlier this year. Absolutely ridiculous. The hypocrisy has gone to an absolute new level, a new high, somewhere that I never thought I would see in my entire life. And the lies don't stop. They don't stop. They don't even slow down. The lies don't slow down at all. Here is another clip of Kamala Harris accusing the president of never disavowing white supremacy. Okay, and Mike Pence makes a fantastic rebuttal. I'm going to put both up right now. This is from Kamala Harris's side an absolute astonishing lie. An astonishing lie. Horrible.
The reality of this is that we are talking about an election in 27 days, where last week the President of the United States took a debate stage in front of 70 million Americans and refused to condemn white supremacists.
Not true.
And
Not true.
it wasn't like he didn't have a chance. He didn't do it, and then he doubled down. And then he said, when pressed, stand back, stand by. And this is a part of a pattern of Donald Trump's.
Absolutely revolting. Revolting. That is the best word I can actually think to describe such a claim that our president does not denounce white supremacy. Unbelievable. And it's not even unbelievable because we know who these people are. We know who they are. They're trying to take over our country, and they will lie and cheat and steal and do anything for power. They are like blood-sucking vampires. They are so hungry for power. They will do anything to attain it. It is absolutely revolting. Let me play a clip. This is from a Twitter user. Let me get the actual @ for you guys because I don't want to take credit for this video. This comes from Twitter user James Klug. I will put his @ on the screen. This is a clip, if I am not correct, of him, of Donald Trump denouncing white supremacy 17 times. This is it.
You've got David Duke just joined, a bigot, a racist, a problem.
Would you repudiate David Duke?
Sure.
David Duke and robocalls are out again, the white supremacist movement supporting you. Do you have any words for that?
Well, I disavow.
David Duke endorsed me? Okay. All right. I disavow. Okay?
When we looked at it and looked at the question, I disavowed David Duke. So I've disavowed David Duke all weekend long on Facebook, on Twitter, and obviously it's never enough.
So are you prepared right now to make a clear and unequivocal statement renouncing the support of all white supremacists?
Of course I am. Of course I am.
When Chris joined, we had a news conference, and they asked me the exact same question. I said, I disavow. I disavowed then. I disavowed today on ABC with George Stephanopoulos. I disavowed again.
David Duke is a bad person who I disavowed on numerous occasions over the years.
I totally disavow the Ku Klux Klan. I totally disavow David Duke. Ultimately, he got to the Ku Klux Klan, which obviously I'm going to disavow.
I've rejected David Duke. I've rejected the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan.
David Duke is saying to his supporters and followers, vote for Donald Trump. White supremacists are saying, vote. Do you want those votes?
No, I don't want them, and I don't want him to say it.
And you want the supporters?
No, I don't want anything.
What do you think of white supremacists, by the way?
I don't like any group of hate.
David Duke announced his Senate candidacy, claiming your agenda.
Are you ready before you ask the question?
Newt Gingrich said every Republican should repudiate this guy no matter what it takes.
And I do. Rebuked. Is that okay? Rebuked.
Rebuked.
Done.
Done.
Do you want white supremacists to vote for you?
No, I don't at all. Not at all.
His campaign is denouncing a show of support from the KKK's official newspaper, as in the Ku Klux Klan.
In the same New York Times interview, he denounced white supremacists. He denounced the neo-Nazis who support him.
Racism is evil. And those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. I spoke out forcefully against hatred, bigotry, and violence.
All right, moving on to one of the last and final lies that Kamala Harris made last night was on that of Abraham Lincoln. You know, she came out with a snarky and cocky and arrogant, annoying rebuttal to Mike Pence to tell him to be quiet, even though it was his time she was speaking on. And then she told the story of Abraham Lincoln, which was absolutely and completely false. So let's play that clip, because why not?
I'm so glad we went through a little history lesson. Let's do that a little more. In 1864...
Well, I'd like you to answer the question.
No, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. Okay. In 1864, one of the, I think, political heroes, certainly of the president, I assume of you also, Mr. Vice President, is Abraham Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Abraham Lincoln was up for re-election. And it was 27 days before the election. And a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said it's not the right thing to do. The American people deserve to make the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And then that person can select who will serve for a lifetime on the highest court of our land.
All right, so this comes from the National Review, and this is a perfect example of why that story was completely fabricated. The National Review says, Harris claimed at the VP debate that Abraham Lincoln refused to nominate a candidate for Chief Justice in October 1864 because Honest Abe said it's not the right thing to do and wanted the people to vote first. The National Review continues saying, Lincoln, of course, said no such thing. He sent no nominee to the Senate in October 1864 because the Senate was out of session until December. He sent a nominee the day after the session began, and Salmon P. Chase was confirmed the same day. And Lincoln wanted to dangle the nomination before Chase and several other potential candidates because he wanted them to campaign for him. Lincoln's priority was winning the election, which was necessary to win the war, and he filled the vacancy at the first possible instant. Kamala Harris is simply inventing history. That is from the National Review. And it is such a great example of how the left, the modern left, contorts and recreates history to push their narrative and to push their points. They will do absolutely anything. They will lie. They will lie. They will kill, they will steal, they will cheat, they will do anything. Anything to get into power. That is why I am so scared of her. Because almost all of the claims she made that night were completely and utterly false. Here's a clip of her saying that Breonna Taylor did not receive justice, pushing this narrative that our justice system is inherently racist, which I completely debunked in the second episode. Here's that clip.
Senator Harris, in the case of Breonna Taylor, was justice done? You have 2 minutes.
I don't believe so. And I've talked with Breonna's mother, Tamika Palmer, and her family. And her family deserves justice. She was a beautiful young woman.
Can you even put it past her at this point? She's a lying, cheating, power-hungry candidate who will do anything to get elected, to get Joe Biden elected. Because here's the thing, if Joe Biden gets elected, this right here is your president. Joe Biden's not your president. Joe Biden is a shill. He is a puppet. He will be controlled not only by Kamala Harris, but by very, very powerful people in Washington. When you vote for Joe Biden, I hope you know, you are not voting for Joe Biden. You are voting for the powerful, corporate, cemented in, swamped out left. You are voting for the people that are pushing communism and socialism and secularism into the United States. When Donald Trump said that Joe Biden is the Trojan horse for socialism, he was not incorrect. Joe Biden is a puppet. That's all he is. He's a character who can win over moderates because he has namesake, but he does not have any independent ideas. He follows the norm of people like Kamala Harris. She will be the one making the decisions. Okay? This is so simple. It is almost like it is out of a movie, watching supervillains try to take over and take power. And I am terrified if they win this election. Well, not to fearmonger, and I'm sorry to scare you, but the podcast episode is over. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. This has been episode 4. It was a blast to record. It was a blast to review this debate and really find out what they're talking about. If you would like any of the links cited in this video, they will be down below in the description of the YouTube video. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure to like and turn on the notification bell. I will be uploading every Tuesday and every Friday. Go follow my social medias. I'll put them up right here. And if you want to donate on Patreon, go to patreon.com/thetalkingpoint. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a great rest of your day. I will see you on Friday. Actually, wait, no, tomorrow is going to be Friday. I will see you on Tuesday.